You're listening to the Quint podcast.
On 11th April, Shehbaz Sharif became the 23rd Prime Minister of Pakistan after his predecessor Imran Khan was booted off unceremoniously through a no-confidence vote. After 3 years and 8 months in office and a lot of attempts to stay in power, Khan ultimately shared the same fate as the 21 Pakistani Prime Ministers before him, none of whom were able to complete a 5-year term. Shehbaz Sharif, who was leading the charge against Imran Khan in Pakistan's parliament, was elected unopposed shortly after. But as the new Prime Minister, he's going to be inheriting an economic crisis with soaring inflation and mounting debts, along with ruffled foreign relations with the US and a rise of militancy in the country. But as he takes up the new mantle, what is the perception around Shehbaz Sharif as a politician and administrator? How is his approach to foreign policy expected to be different from Imran Khan's? And most importantly, as Pakistan goes through this political reconfiguration, the question is, what will this mean for India and the changing geopolitics? Our guest in this episode is Dr. Sameer Patel, a senior fellow at Observer Research Foundation, Mumbai. You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline-making news for you. I'm your host, Shorbury. So let's talk a little about Pakistan's new Prime Minister first. Who is he? Well, Shehbaz Sharif is the younger brother of Nawaz Sharif, who, as we know, has been a 4-time Prime Minister of the country. He was elected to the National Assembly of Pakistan in 1990. However, following the military coup of 1999, both Shehbaz and Nawaz had to spend several years in exile. And like his elder brother, Shehbaz Sharif too has been accused of corruption, something that the Sharifs allege to be politically motivated. But he's been helming the Nawaz faction of the Pakistan Muslim League Party since 2017 after his elder brother was found guilty on charges of concealing assets related to the Panama Papers leak and therefore disqualified from holding office. The erstwhile Prime Minister Imran Khan had in fact milked the corruption allegations against the Sharifs for his electoral campaigns, but before he came to power, Sharif had already served 3 terms as the Chief Minister of Pakistan's Punjab province, which is one of Pakistan's most populous provinces. And during his term as CM, he worked closely with China on Beijing-funded developmental projects under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or the CPEC initiative, and on certain occasions even drew praises from Chinese officials for being a man of action. According to Pakistani media, Chinese officials have given Sharif the title of Shehbaz Speed. Dr. Sameer Patel, a senior fellow at ORF, also weighs in, and he says that after Nawaz Sharif's departure from Pakistan, Shehbaz has managed to hold the fort, and that lends weight to his skill as a political leader.
So, given his record as the Punjab Chief Minister for a very long period of time, I think, he has been known as a capable administrator. And the fact that he is coming from the powerful Sharif family, which has been running that Nawaz Sharif faction of the PPP, I think, that he is seen as a very influential man. But now, being a Prime Minister is a different ballgame altogether. So we'll have to see, how he's able to transform himself from a very powerful regional politician or satrap to a national politician. So we'll have to see that. Obviously, since the time from the time that he has not been the Punjab Chief Minister and is a member of the National Assembly, I think there has been some change in his attitude and his behavior and the grasping of the national issues. But obviously, sitting in the Prime Minister's chair has a completely different kind of responsibility. So we'll have to see how he performs in that particular role.
And how does he compare to his brother?
The fact is that that both ran the party very powerfully or efficiently in the last few decades shows that he's also a capable politician. And the fact that after Sharif's departure from Pakistan, he has managed to hold the PPP together. So that shows that he also has that organizational skill to run the party. And I think that is reflected in the way the PPP has been able to work with the opposition, other opposition parties in ensuring Imran Khan's downfall.
Now, as Sharif takes over the reins of Pakistan, he's also taken over a cash-strapped country with crippling foreign debts, a 13% inflation rate and Pakistani rupee on a downward slide. There are certainly a lot of economic challenges at hand. Then there's the matter of a rise of militancy in the country. In the recent months, attack by Pakistan's Taliban has intensified, and on the other hand, Imran Khan's negotiations with Tehreek-e-Pakistan or TTP also failed last year. And add to that the country's souring ties with US, UAE and Saudi as Imran Khan leaned more and more towards China and Turkey. In fact, before losing office, Khan even went on to allege that there was a quote-unquote foreign power trying to oust his government. But given all these challenges, what kind of reconfiguration will Shehbaz Sharif have to do, and how is his approach expected to be different from Imran Khan's? We take that question to Mr. Patil.
In a sense, there will not be a resetting of Pakistan's foreign relations with the major partners. But the fact is that given the current political controversy about this foreign conspiracy which has been done by Imran Khan to topple his government, would require certain kind of dexterity from the new government to ensure that at least the interests, the relations with the US are not harmed and are not damaged, and ensure that there is a certain kind of continuity, and to ensure that even during the Biden administration there has been no phone call by Biden to Imran Khan to ensure that at least that Pakistan is figures prominently again in the US mind space after the exit from Afghanistan. So in that sense, there is no resetting which is required, at least in terms of major partnerships. And I think with China, obviously, I think it will be a continuation of the relationship, because the CPEC came essentially at a time when the PPP was in power. So the PMLN was in power. So in a sense, that demonstrates that there is that working relationship between the Sharifs and the Chinese. So again, there also we will see the continuity of that relationship. I think the only other tricky partnership would be with India.
And speaking of India-Pakistan ties, in his first speech as the Prime Minister, Sharif raised the Kashmir issue. He said that Pakistan will continue to give quote-unquote diplomatic and moral support to Kashmiris. When Prime Minister Modi congratulated him on Twitter saying, quote, India desires peace and stability in a region free of terror so that we can focus on our development challenges, end quote, Sharif also tweeted in response. He said, and I'm quoting his tweet, quote, Pakistan desires peaceful and cooperative ties with India. Peaceful settlement of outstanding disputes, including Jammu and Kashmir, is indispensable. Pakistan's sacrifices in fighting terrorism are well known. Let's secure peace and focus on socio-economic development of our people, end quote. So the question is, what does this mean for India? Mr. Patil weighs in.
So, we have to look at this question from the point of view of not what Shehbaz Sharif said about the relations with India, but you have to look at the National Security Policy of Pakistan, which came out early this year, which unequivocally said, that there is Kashmir issue, which is at the core of the relationship. There is a certain kind of a government of an ideological orientation in Pakistan, in India. So that shows the attitude of an approach of the establishment towards India. So my presumption is that unless there is a nod coming from the military establishment, and we have to understand that there will be a considerable military, I won't say hand-holding, but very considerable military influence over the new government to ensure that this government continues in power till the time the general elections take place. So till the time the military establishment gives certain kind of a nod to the government to say, that okay, we can do certain kind of outreach to India, or we will have no problem if you do that kind of outreach to India. So it actually depends on not on the new Prime Minister, but on the attitude of the military establishment, and not just in words, but actually in terms of the action. So whether, for instance, whether they continue to continue to the crackdown on the anti-India terrorist groups, whether they are able to hold those terrorist masterminds accountable for their terrorist attacks against India. Those kind of things, I think, will determine Pakistan's intentions rather than these just words, which actually, after a while, will not carry any meaning if they are not backed by these substantial actions on the ground.
So, his relations with the army, what does that indicate? What does that indicate about what is to come?
In a sense, you can say that the relationship of any political party with the Pakistan military has a checkered past. just the other day, Imran Khan was the favorite of the Pakistani army, and today he figures in the most hated characters. So every political party has that kind of checkered past with the Pakistani military establishment. As of now, I think the PMLN, appears to be in good books, but you don't know, what will happen with the scene maybe after a few months or maybe after a few more years. If the military establishment feels that the current government is becoming too much of a liability, just as the Imran Khan government had become a liability because of the mismanagement of the financial crisis as well as the diplomatic challenges that it was unable to tackle. If they feel that the current government also is unable to do that, then obviously they will invent new ways to topple this government.
Shehbaz Sharif will be the Prime Minister for 1.5 years until the next elections take place in Pakistan in 2023. But until then, he has a lot of challenges cut out for him. If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We're live on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.